All right, guys, happy Wednesday. I was going to say Monday because it felt like a Monday to me. And super excited, you guys. Last week, it was an emotional roller coaster for me. Everything that I went through personally and having my baby girl here, and then Michaela and her presentation at school, and then Silas graduating, kindergarten. And, it's crazy how fast time goes when you have little people in your world. And it's been an amazing week, super filled right now. Tremendous levels of emotion, gratitude, excitement, appreciation, all those things. So I want to share that sentiment with you guys. We have tons to be grateful for this morning and in our beautiful life. And so I'm gonna go to somebody, have you bring us out on the field on this amazing morning. That person is going to be Miss Cynthia Jackson. Cynthia Jackson, here's how it goes. If you've never done this before, it's simply sharing with everybody your sentiment, bringing them out on the tunnel, bringing them out for the game on a Sunday or whatever it looks like for you. So Cynthia, hit them with some sentiment this morning. Let's go. Top of the morning. Let's bring the team out on the field.
All righty. Well, this is the first time. So my sentiment is we must all stay positive, keep it moving despite the challenges we face in life. And I mean, I can't say it enough. Sometimes you just got to ignore that shit and just keep it pushing. I mean, seriously, you just got to keep it pushing, right?
Hey, baby, can we get some love, some emotions on the screen if you guys connect with that? I absolutely appreciate that, Cynthia, and everything that you've been through and everything that you will go through. I appreciate you starting us off with some positivity. So, you guys, let's get right into it. I'll say this, and I don't care if it's not reciprocated. I missed you guys. I missed you. It was 2 days of not having group coaching with you guys because the holiday and taking a personal day last week, but I miss you guys. So I'm ready to go. I have something I want to share with you, and then we're going to get right into the market conversation in just a couple minutes. But what's good in your guys' world? I want to hear from a couple of you. Let's hear about some wins in this past week. Despite it being a holiday weekend, I'm sure there were some wins. So let's get three people just to start the conversation out with some wins. Anybody want to share? Well, thank you, Brianna. I miss you guys. Anybody want to share a win that they had in this last? Ooh, I love this. All right, cool. So let's go, Christina. We'll go Christina, then we'll go Blessing, and let's get one more person in the queue for a quick win. All right, so let's go, Christina. Hit them with it. And good morning. Good to see you.
Good morning, everyone. I would say win was I closed escrow on a buyer that I was working with for 2 years, which was super gratifying. So even...
Oh, Christina?
Sorry, I think my internet went out on me. Okay,
there we are.
2 years in the making, working on credit, working on employment. He never gave up. I kept following up with him. So even those clients that are nurturers, I have them on like a drip where I always follow up. So that was super cool. He left me like this huge review that meant a lot to me. So that's one thing. And I think another is I had another client reach out to refinance, which is cool. So I think just for me personally, it feels really good when clients do come back and reach out, because that's when you really know they are really happy with you and they still remembered me. So I would say that's a win.
I love this. So I have a couple questions here. So what are they refinancing from? That's my first question. Are they closer to the 8?
So it was an FHA condo. So they purchased, their credit was really low. So condos automatically always have higher rates, if you guys don't know. So, and when they locked, it was like at the peak in October when rates just shot up. So they were at 7.75%.
Wow.
And so right now I can get them in the mid sixes. And it's a streamlined refinance. So with FHAs, guys, clients can refinance with no income documentation, not need an appraisal. It's a super easy refinance. It's just making sure the numbers make sense and how rates are. So since they had locked at the peak of October, they're going to have the opportunity to refinance now, which is pretty cool.
God, I love this. And talking about 2 years and just holding their hand and nurturing them and being in their corner, like what was that cadence? Was it once a month? Was it a personal reach out? Was it a phone call? Was it a text message? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So all of with clients, like I'm always even just a blanket statement. Hey, hope you're doing well. Wanted to check in to see if you had any questions. Wanted to see how's everything going with your credit repair. And I just keep it short and sweet, and that's my constant. And you'll get people who sometimes don't respond. And then maybe after 3, they finally respond. I'm like, hey, so sorry, Christina. I know you've been emailing me, just been busy, but yeah, now I have a question. So I don't stop until you tell me to stop. And I've never had anybody tell me to stop. And so I just keep touching base, even whether it comes on pre-approvals, buyers that are pre-approved and maybe nothing happened for 4 months. They're going to keep seeing an email from me of checking in saying, hey, want to see if you want any scenarios ran? Do you have any questions on your pre-approval? Because I want to be top of mind. I don't want just another lender that they go to an open house to sweep them up. And I think it goes same thing for realtors, right? So I'm always just like sending that, hey, just checking in. Even if they don't respond, I just want to be there so that when they are ready, and many clients, even if it's been a year, they come back to you because you've been kind of that, it's not annoying, but you've been on their mind. So that's really how, and I've had clients, like a lot of them were a year, 2 years, and they finally, it's a lot of patience, but they finally do come back.
And they appreciate it. Even if they never say anything, they appreciate it. And that's why they call you. So really good stuff. I appreciate that. And that same follow-up, that same sentiment, and that same cadence applies to all of us, whether we're on the lending side or the realtor side. So really good stuff. Let's go Blessing. And then Samiri, you are on deck. So Blessing, win for the week. Let's hear from you.
Good morning. And Elias, now you know how some of us feel when you cancel or you have to go and be an Inman. We all kind of have attitudes when we don't have coaching, or at least I do.
Well, thank you, Sassy McSasserton.
Look, I've already been to the gym. I had a massage this morning.
Yes.
I don't know if Jessica's on the call, but I've got her some sunscreen for our door knocking. Your girl is ready. So thinking about, and I have a voice. It's back. So this win that I have is kind of, full circle. Obviously, you guys know my son is super into basketball, and we drove up to Reno with the team for their first away tournament. And I knew that I was going to wear my fast real estate shirt, I'm just going to advertise on the way up. And we pull up into this, gas station. And this person like walks up to me and is like, what does be fast mean? Is that the stroke thing? Like, are you a stroke person? Like, I don't know what that means, but I tell him, I'm a real estate agent. He's like, I'm so glad to see you. Like, clearly you're stunning, but I'm looking for someone to help me with the house. Like, I'm trying to find property in Vacaville. So exchanged information. I've been sending him property all weekend, kind of like set him up on Real Scout right away. And, I've got an appointment to talk to him tomorrow about some of the properties, but just from wearing my shirt. And then the other win I want to say is, if you ever want to really check in with why you're doing this, my son like absolutely floored me. He didn't ask for anything at all the whole weekend. He just played his game. He did what he's supposed to. He showed up. And the very last day he asked for a jersey. And I was like, well, let me, now I know what you want for your birthday. I'll get it for your birthday. I surprised him and I got it anyway. And the absolute gratitude from this kid from having a jersey, it's almost as if Giannis was in our house and handed it to him. Like, he was so floored. So if you ever lose track of like what you're doing, it's always the little things. Like, don't get so caught up in the clouds or like what the money costs. It's like, give the gift now, like don't save it. And that's why like I didn't save it to his birthday. I decided to give it to him because just with the way life is, you never know what's going to happen. And he's just the most greatest kid. So like my win is just realizing like my kid is like super level-headed and clearly I'm doing something right. So that's
I love this. I love this. That means so much to me because all I ever wanted when I was growing up was a jersey. And back in the days in like the early 90s, I wanted a starter jacket. And my mom never listened because my mom wasn't in the right state of mind and she just didn't get it, right? She didn't get it. My mom's a great gift giver now because she's sober and her mind's in a different place. But like those things at that age mean the world to kids. And the fact that you're able to do that for him, I love that. And let's give her some love and some light. And so great stuff. I love that. And listen, you got kids in sports, that's tough. It's the traveling, the stinky ass socks, the making sure their stuff is ready, making sure they have all their stuff, making sure it's a lot. It's a lot. So
does anyone have tips of how to get the sweat smell out of your car? Because that's what I'm struggling with right now. Like 6 full basketball sweat boys in my car. Like I don't know what to do. So if there's anyone that's got tips, please let me know.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. There's the things that you put on the back seat for like the dogs when they get in, they're coming from the river, or and you put it over and it protects your seats. Put that shit over the back seat. Okay. And then you just wash that thing so it doesn't sweat secretions do not get into your leather or cloth.
Hey,
Okay.
Les, treat them like puppies. Got it. Okay. Awesome.
Somebody else was chiming in. Who was that?
Me. So I've used antimicrobial Febreze. I think it's Febreze. But again, the dog thing, not that your son is a dog, but I've used that to get rid of dog smell and it's amazing. So
Listen,
I'll shoot it over to you.
You click it on behind the seat. Welcome to group coaching, by the way, everybody. You click it on behind the seats, and then when the dogs and stuff get in, they don't ruin the seats because I had a big old dog for years. And so, anyways, let's move on. Love the story. Let's go one more share. Let's go Samiri, and then we will move forward. Samiri, what's good? What's the win for the week? What do you want to share with the people?
Hello. So my win was over the weekend. I did a open house with Christina Elias. So, and then on Sunday, since I'm helping my sister get a house, I'm doing showing. So I thought that was a really good win for me, and it just reminded me of why I'm doing this. And that just motivated me to continue my education. So I signed up for the REN or RENN course, or the real estate negotiations. So I'm, keeping myself busy, trying to continue my education.
I love this. I love this. And it's so crazy that you said this because I have a quote that I wanted to share with everybody. I saw it the other day and I'm going to actually pull it up on my screen. It is a perfect segue and I had no idea that you were going to say this. So let's just go right into this. Got a couple things I want to share with you guys right now. And I'm going to go, Samiri, can you read this since we were just on the subject of education?
Yeah. If you're lost, the answer is education. If you're educated, the answer is execution. If you're executing, the answer is consistency, by Dan Coe.
And I appreciate that. You guys, I wanted to share this with you because if you're lost and you're looking for answers, particularly if you're at a milestone in your career, meaning that you're either just starting out or you're looking at leveling up to that next maybe 12 million, 15 million, or if you're that top producer saying, how can I leverage? I always think that if you're looking for the answers, then it means more education. Maybe that it's a workshop. Maybe that you attend an event. Maybe that you go to your local association and you sign up for some type of education, whatever it is. If you're lost and looking for some answers, then the root of that is I need to get more educated. Now, once you're educated, what am I doing with the education? We always say that the knowledge is not the challenge. The challenge is always the execution. So you take that knowledge, for example, like this negotiation expert. Now you take that and then you execute by going and getting in front of more people. And if you're executing, we all know this. The only way to stay successful in this business is through consistency. So if you're executing, the answer is consistency. I thought this applied to all of us. So I want to share that with you. Samiri, thank you for reading that. And let's go on. And I want to bring this up really quick before we start talking about the market. I put this on here. I think I saw this from James Clear, and it says your identity is the sum of your habits. And I wanted to stop my screen for a second. And I'm going to go to Ashley. Ashley, when you see this on the screen, I'm not too sure if you've read the book or if you've been a part of that, James Clear world. But when you see this, like what do you think about this when you see this quote from James Clear? Tell me a little bit about that, because I know that you have some deep roots in this. Let's go.
Yes, your identity is the sum of your habits, and the reason for that is because the more you show up for yourself, if you make a promise to yourself, you show up, you are in your habits, you identify with that, your confidence level is a certain place, you become a certain type of person. And when you say things and then you are not in your habits, your identity is in a different place. You're disappointed, you're frustrated. I have tons of experience in both places, as do everyone else, I think. But I think it's baseline that when you have habits, you have strong habits, and you're showing up for yourself every single day and doing those habits, you become a better version of yourself and your identity follows suit.
God, I love this. I love this. So I'm gonna share a couple things with you guys. And like I said, we'll get right into the market conversation in just a moment. It says your identity emerges out of your habits. You are not born with preset beliefs. Every belief, including those about yourself, is learned and conditioned through experience. More precisely, your habits are how you embody your identity. When you make your bed each day, you embody your identity as an organized person. When you write each day, you embody the identity of a creative person. When you train each day, you embody the identity of an athletic person. If you are consistently inconsistent with your habits, your activities, your prospecting, you're growing your business, then that's who you're identifying as. You're identifying as the person that never follows through, that can't close the loop, that can't, finish anything, that goes halfway and never finishes, anything in business and in life. And I'm not saying that that is you, but if that is you, then take a really hard look at what you're doing with your habits every single day, how you're spending your time, how you're building your calendar, how consistent you are with these habits. And I promise you guys, if you haven't read that book, go back and read that book. We read it a couple of years ago, Atomic Habits. It will change the course of your career if you actually do the work and you dive into that. So Ashley, appreciate you sharing, appreciate you going in. Let's talk about the market, you guys. Obviously, tons of things going on, and I have a scenario I wanted to share with you, and then we'll get right into this conversation. So I had an agent call me yesterday, and he's like, man, I was feeling so good, so strong. He's like, now I'm licking my wounds. He wrote an offer in El Cerrito. Now, this house was listed, I think, right around right over 1 million. Wrote a very strong non-contingent offer, and they went in at like 125 and thought that they might have a chance, and they got smoked. They got smoked by a all cash offer that came in at 1.7. 1.7 was able to close in less than 14 days, right? And so the question is going to be asked by consumers, by your friends, by your family, is it a buyer's market or is it a seller's market? And I think that it depends, right? There could be a buyer's market and seller's market depending on the neighborhood, and it could be vastly different, right? You could have a buyer's market and a seller's market for two different houses in what's happening by looking at the data, understanding what's happening, the nuances, the patterns, the conditions, to make sure that we're communicating this effectively to our consumers. And so my question to you guys is, how are you setting clear expectations with the consumers about the market? That's why we do this. I want you guys to talk to me, talk like you're talking to the consumer about what are the conditions? How are we setting clear expectations? How are we helping them? Take this for example. You have a buyer that's willing to go non-contingent. They went $200,000 over asking price. They came up with that money and they got beat by an offer at 1.7. 1.7, and they do not stand a chance, right? They don't stand a chance. So they might have to move a city over. They might have to move 2 cities over. So my question to you guys is, how are you having those expectation conversations with your consumers right now? How are you addressing what's happening in the market? I want to hear some intelligent answers from you guys, and I want this to be all about you. I want to sit back, I want to learn, I want to listen, and I want everyone to be a student on this call today. So I need 5 people to get in the queue. Talk to me about the market, patterns, conditions, what you're seeing, and how you're setting very clear expectations for your consumers. And I'm going to pause, and I'm not going to go forward until I get 4 more hands up. So we're going to sit here and stare at each other on the screen, or you guys can throw your hands up. Lisa, throw an emoji up. Use the emoji on the bottom of your screen to actually throw an emoji hand up. All right, cool. I got 3. Got some usual suspects in here. Let's get 2 more people that maybe have never spoke on group coaching before. Actually, here's what we're going to do. The last person will be Otis. Otis is going to go and pass the mic to somebody else. Then that person will get the mic passed to them. Fair enough? Have some fun? Cool. Appreciate the head nods. Let's go. All right. So, Dominic, let's go.
Well, you can't give them any type of movement, and you can't tell them where to go if you don't know where the market is going. So the first thing you would do is explain to them how many homes are on the market in their price range, and how long those homes have been on the market, and give them the numbers. So I pulled up the El Cerrito right now, and homes listed above a million, starting from a million all the way to 1.9, is only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 homes. But that doesn't mean it's going to be 7 homes that everybody wants, and some might be overpriced. So going through that data and knowing what the real numbers are looking like in their price range, and how many real listings are available in their price range, is going to be key. So in El Cerrito, given that it's a very desirable neighborhood, people from that can afford Berkeley and Albany are actually trying to move over to El Cerrito to be still in a decent area, right? And they're still central to San Francisco, Silicon Valley, and anywhere else where they would need to travel for work. So given that, and you're telling them there's only about 7 on the market, how are you going to explain to them that they have to be competitive? That's the only way for you to tell them how many homes are on the market and what it's doing. So in order for them to be competitive, and you're telling them they need to be competitive, you have to show them the numbers. With that being said, if this is a competitive market and there's only about 7 on the market that's above a million, then you have to be super aggressive. How aggressive, we never know, but that's how we're laying out the expectations for them, is showing them why they need to be aggressive. And if they don't get that first offer because it went way above, well, the next person probably won't come in on the next house all cash that high. It's not something that happens too often, but it's something that does happen sometimes. So given that, this did happen to that buyer, where somebody came in all cash, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be like that at the next house, but still, to let them know, you still have to be aggressive with your terms and your price to make sure it doesn't happen again.
I love it. And so let's go a little further on this scenario. I did a live coaching the other day, impromptu coaching at an open house with one of our friends that's also an agent. And she says that her client is unrealistic, looking at all the comps, what houses are getting, what their accepted amount is over asking, the amount of offers, and very, very unrealistic, right? Just unwilling to say, you know what, okay, I'm going to take your suggestion. What do you do with that stubborn buyer? That stubborn buyer that says they won't go up, they can go up, that's within their budget. How are you having that communication with them, Dominique, about realistically, or are you just writing the offer until they take the knock on the chin and see it, and then they know that your strategy was the right strategy? How are you having those conversations with those stubborn buyers?
Yeah, I've actually had quite a few of those within my time of being a realtor. And honestly, this market is different from when I did have that buyer. But yeah, first you do write the first few offers for them, but you don't keep wasting your time. At some point, you have to let them know who's the professional. And given the way that I do business now, everything is based off of numbers. If I put numbers in front of you and you still don't trust me, then we can't work together. We're not a good fit. And at that point, if you can't go by the numbers, then you're just an unrealistic person that needs to kind of probably just sit on the side for a second and let the market pass you by until you realize, hey, maybe it's time for me to come back to her. She knows what she's talking about. But at that point, you do write a few offers to get them in, right? But at some point, you have to respect your time and your business, and they have to respect you as a professional.
Totally. And you guys, and I absolutely love that you said this, because sometimes you have to let them write so they can see that your strategy was the right strategy. Some buyers think that they know it all. They're stubborn. They come from a profession where they're the top in their profession, where they're used to making decisions that have, gone very well for them. And then they come into this and they try to take that same ego into, well, we're just going to submit here. This is why this is important, you guys. Keep a log. If you are out showing homes with a hot buyer and they're looking at houses and maybe they're writing offers or they're thinking about writing an offer, put those all in a spreadsheet. And then when those houses that they don't write on get into contract and the amount of offers that they have on them, share that with them. So when they have an unrealistic expectation and they want to write a low offer, you pull up all of those listings that they had gone and seen, like, hey, let's go back over the last couple of weeks, last couple of months of all the houses that you've seen. And I want to show you the data of what happened with those houses and where we're at. Can you see how our strategy needs to be adjusted based on what the market is doing and help them realize? And you guys, I've done this myself with an engineer that was just so stubborn until he said, we have to do it your way, don't we? So we have to do it my way, right? And sometimes it takes an offer or two, but you also have to have a boundary to say, you know what? I don't think that I'm the person to help you because you're not listening to my strategy. Hopefully, you know, you find the house of your dreams, but based on what you're doing right now, I'm not the one. I'm not the one. You have to be able to walk. So, Dominique, I appreciate that sentiment. So let's go Lisa Torres, and then Otis, you're on deck. Cynthia, you're on deck, and then we'll have somebody else get in the conversation. Lisa Torres, hit us with it.
Good morning. So Sierra and I have been working with this buyer who was really trying to get into Berkeley, and we had no idea how insanely competitive Berkeley is. And she was going for a severe fixer and just got completely. And for that deal, I was really happy that she went all in on what she could. She just got outbid by like $100,000. Like $100,000, like it is what it is. But then we put in an offer in Hercules, and honestly, I hesitated because I ran the numbers. There weren't a lot of comps. There were older comps, so I adjusted for time and then looked at how much things have appreciated since last October. The number I came up with, I was like, wow, that's a huge difference. And I didn't trust myself to push her that far up. Well, not only was I closer, it went above what I anticipated, which was a massive gap. So also trusting myself.
Yeah, you know, I love that you said that, and I appreciate the vulnerability and being honest, and really looking at this and saying, you know what, hold on a second, like why is the demand higher in Berkeley? Well, because the demand is higher in El Cerrito, El Sobrante, El Cerrito, and if you can't afford there, then like I said, a city, two cities over, and that's just what happening. So I love that now you'll have the confidence to say, you know what, I'm going to trust my gut on this. I did my homework, I did my research. And I feel very, very confident about that. And so good stuff. And this is how we learn, right? Really, really good stuff. And first off, or second, did they get an offer accepted? Are you in contract? Are they still looking at Hercules? Where are we at with this client?
No, we're still looking. We're still looking.
Okay. Okay. And are they sticking to Hercules?
They're more open to other areas. So I mean, Hercules is a vast difference from Berkeley. So I think we'll be able to get those things soon.
And now you know a little bit about that Berkeley market. It's just always going to be like that. I've never seen a time where Berkeley wasn't in demand. It's just the education, the history of Berkeley, how beautiful it is, the city, the community, hippie roots. Like there's so much going on in Berkeley. And you have all these kids that are going to school from all over the world. Their kids are these kids coming in and their parents have money. And so there's always going to be high levels of money in Berkeley. And so it's always going to be competitive. But good stuff, Lisa. Let's go Cynthia Jackson, and then Otis, you will be on deck. What's good? Or I think I mixed that up, but let's go Cynthia.
I just had a question about something you said, Elias. You were talking about, because I have a client that I'm thinking I may have to let her go because she's so difficult that she's not reasonable. It's just not even reasonable. At this point, I'm just letting it rest. But I just feel like I may need to say, and we're just getting started, but she feels like she can run the whole deal. She knows what's happening. And the really sad part about it is that she's not even knowledgeable. So I just feel like I'm like chasing my tail, like a dog runs after his tail, and he just ain't gonna. It just, so.
All right, so I think people on the screen are going like this, like share the tea with us. So tell us the scenario, tell us the neighborhood, tell us price points, give us a little context here, and then I want people to chime in of how they would approach the situation. So give us some tea here.
So the situation is that this was the 3-in-1 deal. So it was recommended to me by my mentor, my mentor, that they buy their property. So there was two properties, two people who needed to purchase a property, and then the sale of the house. she came to the realization, because she had been living rent free, that, oh my God, I got to pay something. And she freaked the hell out. I mean, totally freaked out. It was like, I'm not moving. I want to stay here. And then she started giving me examples of what it looks like to sell a house while you're living in it. Right. So now she wants to sell the house while she's living in the space. And it's an older house, needs tons of upgrading. If, whatever, just remove the carpet and, just certain things to make the house more marketable. It's in Richmond Hills. Can you hear me? I mean, you look like you're frozen. Yeah.
We can hear you though.
Okay. All right. So she.
Yeah, I can hear you. It comes for a sec on you.
So anyway, so the house, but it's sellable. I mean, meaning that with some work, it could, it'll do well on the market. The price range is, we priced it at 670,000 based on the comps and all the other considerations. And she's happy with that, but she doesn't want to leave the house. And so I conceded with that. Okay, no problem. Let's change the whole plan. See what do we do next? Well, at this point, she's not responding because she feels like she has, I'm going to go and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that and I'm going to do this. So I just stepped back and just said, okay, when you're ready, because we submitted a SIM so that, we extended it out for a year. So I have a whole year before anything happens. So that's why I said I just step back and, just kind of see. So I'm open for whatever.
Right. So she's unrealistic on the listing side. Is that what you're saying?
On every side. I mean, she's yeah, seriously, she doesn't want to move because, that shock factor. And, of course, I remember that was a consideration when I was on the other side doing loans, that if that happens, even the lender is going to be a little concerned about, well, what is this going to be like if she hasn't paid rent in forever? And now all of a sudden she's got to start paying something.
Yeah, must be nice. We all can't live in our grandma's basement anymore. We all got to pay rent, pay for our housing. But anybody have context for her? Anybody have any suggestions on dialogue or what you would say to this pesky client? Let's go to Sierra and then Otis. I'm going to come right over to you. Sierra, you're about ready to take yourself off of mute. Hopefully your arms are ripped right now from all the curls that you were just doing. Let's go, Sierra.
Okay. I was raising my hand for something else. Dang it.
Hey, Sierra.
Yeah. All right, I'll come back to you then.
Okay.
Anybody have any thoughts, any advice, any encouraging words for Cynthia? Let's go, Blessing, and then throw your hands up with an emoji so I don't miss you.
So, Cynthia, it really sounds like she's scared because she's going from no rent to a purchase in one of the most competitive housing markets that there is. So I'd ask, did you have a buyer's consultation with her to go through the whole process and really help her understand like what's about to happen? Because it really just sounds like she's scared. And I don't know what she does for a living or the fact of like what the circumstances are. And while she's trying to take control, like that's the fear from her part. So what I would recommend or advise you to do is meet her at that fear and help her remove that. Like take away what's trying to like take away everything about the market and trying to get the house ready and what she needs to do and like dial into, it sounds like there's a fear here that I'm here to help you through. Like I get it. And you are making a big life decision. And what's happening right now is because you're trying to hold on to everything, I'm not able to do my job. And there's a couple of things that can happen. You can either let me be there with you to guide you through it, or I'm going to have to step back because how you want to run this isn't going to work out in your favor from what I have seen. And if you meet her there and just let the conversation start from there, if she opens up, then you have your in to step right into the buyer's consultation, give her that guidance and show her that I'm going to be here to hold your hand through the whole process. It is scary, but I'm the expert. I've got a team behind me that's going to be able to pour into you. And I'm going to do my best to make sure that you get exactly what you need, but you got to let me help you. And if you stay right there, you've drawn your boundary, you've put her in her place, and you don't have to worry about trying to negotiate with someone who doesn't know this side of the process. And true, going from paying no rent to paying a mortgage in the Bay Area, like, she should be afraid, right? So you stepping in and just loving on her a little bit is going to be the thing to win her over. And if she doesn't even want that, kick rocks and let her go. There's other people who need you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
God, I love that. Really quick, I guess I want some clarification here. How does she own the house and she's never paid rent? Did she inherit the house?
good question. Yes, she did. So,
Okay,
and that's
okay.
well, and then one other piece that's really it's really a bit of a stressful situation for me because on the other end, it was an inheritance, and she and her brother, where the brother is solid, he's ready to roll, he's ready to get this thing done over with, and the reality is that he can't really move forward because she and her son who's living in the house are not moving forward,
Yeah.
and
Wow.
it's really a situation.
It
And
really is. And you know what the root of this is, and I'm so glad that Blessing brought this up. The root of this is going to be emotional maturity on their part, but emotional acuity on your part. Being able to slow everything down and say, you know what, there's tons of emotion behind this with, obviously inheritance, with the fear of purchasing and now having a mortgage. Like there's so much emotional maturity that has to go into this purchase. That's why your emotional acuity needs to be at the highest that it can possibly be to slow everything down, take everything off the table, close all the books, close all the stats, and be like, listen, I understand how hard of a time this is going to be. So let's just have a very, very human conversation because I can hear what's going on. It sounds like there's fear and frustration. And I want to make sure that I understand what's going on so I can better serve you. Like, close the book and have a really, really heart-to-heart conversation with them. And I'm so glad that Blessing brought this up because this is all about emotional acuity to impact their emotional maturity. And I think that when we're there, all things will change in this relationship. So let's go to Christina, and then we'll go to Dominique, and then we'll get right back to Otis. Otis has been chomping at the bit. So let's go, Christina, contributions for the conversation. And are you guys, hold on. Can I get some thumbs up, or if you guys are enjoying this conversation, if you're gaining something from this conversation? Okay, cool. Let's go, Dominique. All right, sorry, Christina.
I'll make it quick. And I think one thing too is like when a client like that gets wishy-washy and they say they want to buy, they want to sell, they don't know. It's like have them talk to a lender to at least go over the numbers. Even if, at this sales price, this is what it would be. Because at first, they may not even realize what that payment is. How I see it, if they're not willing to run their credit, they're not serious. They'll go to Target and save 20% off to get a Target credit card, but they don't want to run their credit to buy a house. That means they're not serious, in my opinion. So taking a look at that, even seeing where that's a starting point, and if they keep giving resistance, then I agree. It's almost a point you got to cut the cord. And that's just could be a nurturing client. Maybe every month, check in, add them to an e-newsletter. And, that's pretty much, you have to just, like I said, cut the cord until they're really serious.
Totally. I love it. And let's go over to Dominique, and then Cynthia, I'll come back to you to kind of hear, what your takeaways were from the contributions. Let's go, Dominique.
So now it makes a lot more sense now that I know that she inherited the house.
Yeah, I saw your comment. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, and it makes a lot of sense that she's acting like that because so my husband and I have flipped many houses, and in order to get those houses, we had to deal with people who inherited the houses. So that's the houses we were going for. A lot of the people, they're not. I get the emotional part, but a lot of it is just the money part. Once you start spitting numbers at these people, they have no idea what it takes to own and buy because they never did it. They inherited this, right? And so they don't know that aspect of the financial part. And they're really just all about money, like really at the end of the day. So once you spit all the numbers, you really have to make this a numbers game for them. Like beyond anything else, it has to be a numbers game, Cynthia. So I would just run so many different scenarios, numbers wise for her, and send it over with detailed for each one, and see if she jumps from that. Because people who inherit houses, they become greedy, and that's what it is. At the end of the day, it becomes about greed and money, and nothing else really matters after that. So really spitting that number game is gonna make her budge. I guarantee you that. it's going to be the money part. So giving her scenarios about different numbers, if you sold at this price, this price, this price, and what she would get after, you know, her and her brother get the split. And really that's going to really make her move.
Yeah, I don't understand what happens with people when, I mean, my grandmother hasn't even passed away, and my aunt is already, you know, like already being shady. And but she doesn't know that my mom is on the deed. And so she's gonna have a rude awakening when my grandma does pass away, which I hope is way, way down the road. But I don't understand why people get greedy and why people just are grabbing at the bag when someone passes away. It's just weird. But Cynthia, let's go back to you. Key takeaways from what was shared, and then we'll go right over to Otis, Darnell, and then Sierra.
So key takeaways from what was shared is, I just want to be clear. I'm so sorry I left out that part because it was really, you know, crucial part to the story. But I did all of that. Everything that we're talking about, I have done it all. And at this point, if they don't call me to say we're ready to go, I'm at the point where I'm just about ready to let it go, because and then one other thing that's really important, it was a mistake on my part. We filled out the application and there was a page that didn't get signed. So that set her off. You know, then she starts, you know, she questions, I thought you had 20 years experience. How long have you been an agent? And I said, well, I'm a new agent. I never did not disclose that. But I appreciate that you think I have 20 years experience as a real estate agent. I said, I'm not new to the industry. I just want to be clear about that. So with all things said, they have faith in my ability to get the job done. It's just that fear is bigger than, and it's fear, and she is fear plus control and greed. So you take all of those and put them together, and this is where this situation is, you know, and I've done the numbers. So what else could I say?
Hey, Cynthia, tough scenario. Keep them, you know, keep them close to you in proximity, send them information, follow up with them, but don't spend effort, time, and energy trying to convince them, because it's not our job. Our job is not to convince anybody why they should buy or sell. It's our job to continuously find the people that are ready to go. And when they're ready to go, we're here to serve them. And the people that are not, those are the people that we're following up on, keeping them in our campaigns and keeping them in our newsletter. So appreciate your contributions, everybody. Let's go over to Otis. Then we'll go to Darnell, Sierra, and then Joanne. If I have time, we'll make sure to get over to you. Let's go, Otis.
Sure, you sure?
Hey, bro, I'm sure the conversation went off, bro. I didn't know we'd go this long. Let's go, dog.
All right. I've been hearing some really crazy horror stories with a lot of people and your clients. Like, I don't know about you guys, but if I don't fit with them, I don't work with them. Just that simple. Like, I don't beg for money, and nor that I'm not gonna work myself to the ground for somebody that's not gonna be appreciative of it. So I'll just cut their ass go. With Cynthia, I would think that maybe you're just not connecting with her. So instead of just maybe not just giving her all the way down, or I would say going lower than your morals, going through anything that you don't feel like you need should go through, why don't you bring in a partner just as, you know, conversation piece? It doesn't have to be a 50-50 deal. You can give them 20% for just being able to handle and talk to them and be your communicator. That's what I do on a lot of my deals. You know, sometimes the husband ain't with, you know, me talking to the wife directly, so I'll bring in a female partner, and, you know, vice versa. Sometimes I'm partnered with a lovely looking lady, and the wife isn't going for that. So I mean, it's all on knowing people. I think you really need to know the person first, because you as the expert, you already know real estate. So being able to comprehend your part to them, and I really can't stand the people that try to tell us how to do our job. So once they start doing that, I don't mean to be an asshole or be whatever, but at the end of the day, you got to let them know, hey, I'm the expert here, Elias. Like, I get everything you're saying. I know it's your money. I know it's your time as well, but you just have to trust in me that I'm putting forth the right game plan for us to execute. Now, for buyers, I'll go out and say that you made a good point with that deal, because I got smoked 13 times from El Cerrito all the way up to actually court. I mean, we almost wrote on something in Cordelia, which is across the bridge, but they thought about it and didn't want to. So as you lose, you start gaining something. So you're never really losing in real estate. As you lose in the markets that you're in, maybe your buyer starts coming to the realization, I can't afford to stay here. So we might go over a city or two. So those are some things that you might have to just put out there at the beginning. I lay that shit all out at the front so they know who they're dealing with, what they do. It might be a lot of information, but every single time they tell me, wow, you really know what you're talking about. I feel comfortable with you. So once you get that level of comfortability, you don't have to worry about anything else. They'll literally eat out the palm of your hand if you get someone to be comfortable and you show them something of value. On the selling side, I'm actually going to a listing appointment right now with Ina, and we're trying to convince someone who bought their house. This is the whole COVID situation where they're buying their house for a lot more back then, and now it's a lot less now. So we're trying to sell her on why she should sell. She's moving to Canada in X amount of days. So it's really a no-brainer. Do you want to go to Canada and have to wait for somebody that, if you don't get the number that you want, for your family 3,000 to 4,000 miles back home to be dealing with this? Who's going into your house? Are they going to keep it up? Is it your family member? Is it a random stranger? You're going to be paying a lot of money to upkeep. You're still going to be paying your taxes. You're still going to be paying a monthly mortgage if they're not all the way paying that out. So I feel really good about closing and getting this listing appointment signed today, even though she's probably going to lose some money. But it's the fact of the alternative. Don't you want to live comfortably in Canada? If I'm not correct, I don't know how the taxes work out there, but she'll probably be able to hold a lot of her money that she's not no longer staying here. So I'm pumped up to get the first listing signed for me this year, which is going to be plenty more coming, because I just feel that right now I'm at a space where I can really articulate to buyers and sellers, and I can close the deal no matter who it is. So it's just about having the confidence, having the execution, and having the knowledge to really do it. For the newer agents, stop trying to act in front like you're not a new agent. Like, that doesn't mean that you can't use I have a team that is number one. I have 200 brothers and sisters. So when I don't know the answer, I can literally put it in my Slack channel and I can figure it out in like 5 minutes for you, Elias. So yeah, I will keep it honest to you. I am a brand new agent, but my company isn't, and we're number one for a reason. If I cannot find out that answer for you that I should already know, then I know I have someone on management or one of my brothers or sisters that can help me. If you do not choose to be with me because I'm a newer agent, I could bring on a very experienced agent to make you feel comfortable. So there's plenty of ways for newer agents and even agents that are seasoned to really win out here. You just really got to stop being lazy, do the homework. If you have your homework and you study for your quiz, I don't care who you are. I mean, testing for me was really easy because I really understood multiple chess questions, but this is different. You have to know your shit. Oh, sorry, I'm sorry. But you have to really know your stuff. So at the end of the day, just do your homework, know what you're talking about. And if you don't, find somebody that can help you. You don't have to give them some money if you don't want to.
That's right.
Knowledge just because you're seeking.
Well, Otis, thank you for the invitation to come and help.
Look at that. I love that. I love that. Otis, I love your contribution, my man. Go crush that appointment. And while we're here, I want to congratulate Otis because he is going to be one of our newest additions to our Zillow seller program based on his ability to close online leads. So he earned his spot on the seller program, which is a very, very coveted program. So great job, my man. Great contribution. Let's go to Darnell, and then we'll go to Sierra. Darnell, give me your contribution. What's up, my man? Let's hear it. How many miles did you row, or how many meters did you row?
Oh, I just did a 5-minute warm up.
Okay.
5-minute warm up and then got into the workout. But yeah, no, I was just going to add something quick. I haven't been in that situation myself, but just something that came to mind was be indifferent with the client. They obviously don't want to engage right away. So just be indifferent about you needing them, of course. And when you do run into thoughts of hiccups they might run into, then just shoot them a text like, oh, I just saw this program. I'm hoping your lender gave you this information, or just some kind of way to trigger the thought, oh, I might not be receiving this type of knowledge, and maybe this would be a better agent to run with. But I also will say, don't just drop them off. Keep them in your pipeline, and like Cynthia said, like, keep nurturing. But for the simple fact of a case study, right? Once you deal with another client who may have the same type of dilemma or same type of dialogue, you can bring back this situation and tell them, oh, this is how this worked out for them, and this is why I recommend this. So just a simple contribution.
I love it, Darnell. And listen, you guys, become a third-party story junkie. What I mean by that is store these stories. God, Mr. Johnson, you remind me of a family that I was just talking with my team member Cynthia, and they were up against a couple challenges, and this was the solution, right? Like make it real by telling stories that you hear from these calls versus trying to make something up or trying to front about the market. Use these stories to your advantage. Let's go, Sierra, and then if I have a moment, I'll go over to Joanne. Let's go, Sierra.
Hey guys, so this is a market story and lesson learned. Um, just a little background. It's an online lead. I'm meeting them for the first time. So I didn't have a ton of time to prepare before I met them. And I'm meeting them in Pinole. They want a very specific neighborhood. So we look at the house. It's not updated, but in general, it's a great price. It's in the neighborhood they want. The wife's really standoffish, and the husband's not there till later. So, you know, we talk a little bit. I try to warm him up as much as possible. At the end of it, you know, I'm gonna follow up. We say goodbye. I follow up, and they're like, "Hey, you know, the house has too many updates. We think we're gonna wait." So 2 days later, she gets a feeling that they should make an offer on this place. So I'm like, awesome, let's do it. Now, just to be clear, there were no offer dates set for this place. There was no like, you know, offers as they come. There was nothing really. It was kind of like a very small description on this townhouse. So she wants to make an offer. It's pending, of course. So in hindsight, this is kind of what I learned from that. So, you know, if it's a person that has a very specific neighborhood and there's only 3 properties for sale, and they've already seen 2 of them, and this is the 3rd, and this one is better than the other ones. Honestly, if you're looking at those numbers, if I had time and in hindsight, looked at those numbers and said, hey, barely any properties go up for sale here. You know, you might want to make a move on this, just to kind of give that insight of, look, you know, if you find any major problems in inspections, we can pull out of this deal. But looking at the market in this area, being so specific about the neighborhood, you guys really might want to make a move on this before it's too late. So, lesson learned on that. In the future, I'm going to be encouraging people, because you just, like, with everybody's situation, it's different. And having such a small niche, that really puts her at a disadvantage, because they literally want a radius of like, you know, 0.25 miles, even less. It's just a very small area. So yeah, that's kind of like, in hindsight, okay, I learned for the next person, let's kind of encourage them to make it happen.
I love that. Yeah, a lesson in urgency here. Great stuff. Great takeaway. Great contribution, Sierra. So we're actually going to cut right there with contributions about the market. Joanne, unless Joanne, you have something that is less than a minute, you want to contribute, or do you have a question?
I was just going to say exactly what Otis said. That Cynthia should find someone to partner with who, I don't know, I was thinking Blessing, just because I thought what Blessing was saying was really powerful. And I was thinking about what you were saying with Kelly partnering with somebody else. You were mentioning, I think in the meeting yesterday,
Yep.
when you partner with someone who's a little different, then you kind of can handle a client better. And I have a friend who's a realtor at another company. She did the same thing with a difficult client. She said, basically, you split the profits, but it's half the headache.
Yeah, totally. So you guys, great session today. Great contributions. I want to hear from a couple of you. Let's go, Janice. Janice, key takeaways from our time. Yes. You don't act surprised, Janice. All right, you're here. Let's go. Key takeaways from our time together today. Rapid fire. Let's hear from you.
Tap into your resources to get the job done. Use your fellow agents on the team and all the information that is provided to us. Do your homework and get out there and get after it.
That's right.
Boom.
Say again. Was that it? I heard somebody else's voice, I think. But good stuff. I love that, Janice. Randy Poon, let's hear from you. Key takeaways from our time together today. Randy Poon, are you there? Going once, going twice. All right, cool. We will move on. Let's go, Christina Macias Chan. Christina, key takeaways from our time together today. Let's go.
To just be patient and know your information when you're talking to a potential client or someone you're working with, how important that is to just really know, because if you don't, then how would they trust you? And just to be really aware and guide them so that they don't feel like they need to go to someone else. That was my takeaway.
Totally. Because think about yourself in a medical profession. I mean, I get sometimes we want to get a second opinion, but most of the time the doctor comes in and says, hey, this is what's wrong with you. This is how we're going to fix it. And this is what I'm going to prescribe you. We're not doubting that doctor's knowledge and expertise. We're taking it as gospel most of the time. Now, I get second opinions, but that's how they have to view you. And the only way that they're going to view you as that person is because you're so knowledgeable about the market conditions, patterns, nuances, and so on. So great stuff, Christina. Randy Poon, let's go to you. Key takeaways from our time together, big dog. Mute button. Got it? We'll try one more time. Almost there. It's down below. Nope. All right, cool. Randy, it's all good. Next time. Listen, you guys, go out there and make it happen. And I share this, and I want to share this again with you guys. Not my calendar. That's not what I want to share with you guys. I want you guys to ask yourself this question one more time, and let's continue to ask ourselves this question because I think that's always applicable. Today, I'm going to do whatever that task is, even though I do not want to. Have that tough conversation, create that video, follow up, whatever that looks like for you. But today, I'm going to do this despite my mood. Fuck how I feel. I'm going to do this anyways. So you guys, once again, coming to you with tons and tons of gratitude. If you are friends with my wife on social media, I know some of you ladies are, make sure to send her congratulations. My wife officially started a new career at the Livermore Labs, and that is high-level security clearance. What is that? National security type of stuff. I won't even know some of the stuff that she's doing, but super, super proud husband today. And so if you see my wife on social media, she's not as active as I am, but send her huge congratulations because I am very, very proud of her and I'm very proud of you guys. I appreciate you guys being here, being present, being conscious, and getting involved in this conversation. And if you don't get involved in this conversation, I want to push you and I want to implore you and I want to encourage you to get yourself on camera, throw your hand up, and get in these conversations because it only makes us stronger. So you guys, as always, keep it moving towards your dreams, goals, and vision, and go out there and do the hardest thing that you're procrastinating on today. Right now, go. Peace. Bye.